Hey, good evening. Welcome back to another round of Next Round Sports. I'd like to welcome everybody. Did we broadcast last week? I can't remember. Yeah, we did. We had
No,
this
we
talk.
took
I
a
think
week
in and
off.
out. Yeah, we took
We
a
took
little
a week
week
off for
off.
some
It was a little
personal
rough,
reasons.
some personal reasons, but we're back. We're ready to go. Once again, this is Chris Porter here with Caleb Culver, Jeff Amos. Good evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Evening,
We're
sir.
doing good. Let's fire somebody today.
Well, that is the big news around Dallas Fort Worth. You can hear it on the radio all day long, and gets us right into our first segment here with the
Yeah.
NBA
The
and the
lynch
Dallas
mob.
Mavericks and the talk of Jason Kidd.
The lynch mob is out.
Pitchforks, torches are lit. Everyone's ready to tar and
they
feather
are
and throw
the
him out of
Mavericks are
town.
the worst defensive team in the league right now. There was some
Yes.
time after the trade, you're like, oh, okay, the trade's up the defense and we're gonna be a little better. And no, we weren't dead last before the All-Star break, but we are after the break. So we're not even getting better, we're getting worse. The trajectory has not improved.
No, it hasn't. And in the last 7 games, the Mavericks have given up 111 plus points.
Yeah.
In the
No,
last
I'll give
7
it to them. The
games.
Pacers, Carlisle loves to beat his old team, and the Pacers have a great offense this year. But yeah, that's the only team I'll
At the
give up.
same
Like you
time,
said,
we
they've
gave up
given
133 and 137
No,
points.
I
And they're a
know.
good team. They're not a great
It's
team.
almost
They
at
just
right.
run
historic
them.
levels how
Problem.
much the Mavs are giving up right now, which is not where you want to be. And Luka's getting frustrated too. Apparently, one of the Mavs players actually came out and said the Mavs were lacking mental toughness at one of his parents' conference. I think it was either PJ Washington or Grant, the other center we
Was it Gafford?
traded for.
Gafford.
Gafford, yeah, excuse me.
And
Thank you.
Gafford's who I wanted to bring up because when they brought Gafford here, it was all here's a new chance for him to get some more minutes, get some more time. And he's been just the
He looked
firecracker
good.
that we've needed when he comes in. He comes in, he plays with intensity, he plays with passion. He's what you need out on the court. And he's actually averaging right now 17 minutes a game, 10 less than what he was in Washington.
Yeah, 21
That
minutes
is
for Gafford last night,
pitiful.
16 points and 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
How's
You
he
could-
not
I
getting
mean,
more minutes?
You could argue lineup. There's a lot of things you can yell at Kid for. Lineup decisions, defense, being too buddy with Kyrie or Luka. I mean,
well, I
like you
think
said,
the issue is,
I don't understand why we hired him in the first place. Is my whole thing. Is like, do we
because
not
he's
understand
best
what
friends
Milwaukee
with the,
was?
with the trust.
Because
the
Luka
powers that
wanted
be.
him.
Yeah, and think
I
about
guess
it
Luka
this way.
wanted him. They didn't want Luka doesn't want to be coached. He wants to have the coach that's going to
That's
be his
possible.
friend. And that is what it was because Carlisle was this whole time. He can't coach young
Well, no,
players.
I agree
He
with you.
can't coach
That's
young players. And
why
look what he's doing there
did
with
it.
Indiana. He's coaching a bunch of young players who have embarrassed us 2 games
Twice.
in a row.
But think about it this
Both
way.
games
though.
this year.
Think about the powers that be right now for the Mavericks. I'm disregarding the new owners. I'm just talking about the hiring of Kidd.
Yeah.
Mark Cuban, buddy with Jason Kidd. Dirk Nowitzki, buddy with Jason Kidd. Finley, buddy with Jason Kidd, I imagine. Nico Harrison was a package deal, apparently, with Jason Kidd. That's the reason why he was there.
Well, Nico was there a year or
responsible
two
for
before,
getting us
right?
an NBA championship.
Well, Nico Harrison is, I think you're saying, but Jason Kidd's not responsible for getting us a championship.
No, I'm saying Jason Kidd is responsible for getting us a championship as a player. So that's why
he was a part of it. But
That's
yeah,
why
I
he's
don't want to
there.
put it all on him. Yeah, he was a part of it.
I know, but
I can agree with you. I can agree with you. It's like, oh, hey, my old player who brought a championship in for us, was on that championship team, I should say, needs a job. Let me give it to him.
Well, the thing is,
yeah,
for them
I can
to
agree
be
with that.
poor on defense as they are, Kidd was one of the best defensive, point guards that played during his time. He was. And I don't know if it's the whole, hey, I don't want to lose.
Coach. That's the
I don't want to
problem,
lose.
I feel like. I mean, he didn't have a good defense.
No, he didn't. In Milwaukee, he didn't. We
Bucks
talked
either.
about that. Yeah, with the Bucks, he didn't. That's
So,
why
I
he
mean,
got let go.
Yeah.
And I don't know if if he's afraid of losing, the locker room, that's why he doesn't go, hey, I was one of the best point guards to ever play the game. I know how to do this. You're going to listen to me and do what I tell you. Or if he's just too worried about being buddy, I don't know. But obviously, it's not working. It's not working. We need to find a coach that's going to come in and coach these players to win, especially late in the season and into the playoffs. Because I can tell you right now, and I don't know him personally, so I can't tell you exactly if this is what he's going to do, what's going to happen. But you can tell Luka wants to win. He'd be happy scoring 10 points a game if the team was winning consistently.
Well, you just said he doesn't want to be coached, but he also is happy scoring 10 a game. So kind of you got to balance that.
No, that's different. That's different right there. That's if you're winning, most players are going to be happy. I'm not saying.
Well, yeah, if you're winning, but then he's going to.
You can make that correlation.
Winning, you can say.
Well, no, if they were winning, you can make that correlation. But will you let me finish my point here?
No, go.
I think. You got me off topic now. See, stop interrupting me.
That's what I'm good at.
What I don't think is that if you don't get someone in here who can help this team get to where they are, and I'll make this correlation with Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, because when Phil Jackson came in to Michael Jordan's career, that's when things really took off, and he learned. He was already a great player, one of the best players at that time, but having the right coach to help show you what to do with your talents and help it broaden the way you see the game makes all the difference in the world. And I think that's what made all the difference for Michael Jordan, made all the difference for Kobe and Shaq. When you have that right coach that could balance the egos, get things working together, you need that right there. And if you don't find that, you don't get Luka a championship, he's not going to be like Dirk, and where he's going to stay loyal to the team that drafted him. He's going to walk.
Eventually,
and then you're going to be down to where you're down like Portland did when Lillard left. You're going to be down. You're going to be
rebuilding for sure.
It's going to be rebuilding again for a long time.
Some of the reasons. Supposedly, one of the pros of hiring Kidd was that he could take Luka to the next level as a passer and seeing the court. Which Luka was already pretty dang good at it. But it was supposedly one of the pros is he could up Luka's game coming in.
The only way Luka really needed to up his game was on the defensive side.
Agreed.
Which earlier in the season, it looked like you could see some difference. He looked a lot better. To me, it doesn't look like it looks just like, as Gafford said, there's no heart. No one cares about playing defense. Nobody
looks like the Cowboys almost on playing defense sometimes.
It absolutely does.
But also,
it absolutely does.
What I cannot stand is why every single press conference they ask Jason Kidd what happened, and he has no answers. It's just like I'm watching the same.
And that's
thing
a problem too.
You guys are just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, what do you mean?
We've said this before.
You're supposed to be seeing things that we don't see.
Exactly.
So
we've said that before at his conferences that he won't take responsibility for anything. When it comes down to it, like, oh well, instead of going, hey, I'm the coach. I didn't have the guys ready. We'll be ready the next time. He never takes responsibility for anything. Nothing's ever his fault. It's always someone else's fault. And when you don't have that leadership there at the very tip top, it affects down all the way through the entire organization.
Now, Jeff brought up a good, interesting possible hire to replace him with during our off before we got started here.
Rick Carlisle.
Remember well, no. The old Milwaukee coach.
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer.
Yeah.
Who, ironically enough, replaced Jason Kidd in Milwaukee and took them to an NBA title. And the reason I think this would be a great hire for Dallas is there's been some issues with Budenholzer in the past on his offensive coaching style. But when you already have Luka and Kyrie Irving, what offensive coaching do you need? You need help on the defensive side of the ball. And I think he'd be a perfect hire for this team now. Unfortunately, you can't hire him now with 20 games to go. It's just not going to happen. But I would think that would be a great fit, say, next year, because he's going to get hired by somebody next year.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And really, if kids get them out of this play-in, especially if they stay where they're sitting currently at 8, or even if they keep going like going 9
Or
or even
10.
10, or if they don't turn things around quickly, they could get completely knocked out of the playoffs again, like they
Yeah.
did last year, where they just completely wet the bed at the very end.
Then he would
Yeah.
have to get fired.
Yeah, he's got to
Yes.
go then.
Because that's just pathetic to let that happen, especially with, that's another year, another more, a little less tread off the tires for Luka. Kyrie's not getting any younger. You're losing your window, and you need to take advantage of it, and they're not taking advantage of it. And I think that would be a great hire. I agree with you, Jeff. I think that definitely would. And if they, to me, they have to get at least to the Western Conference Finals for them to keep him, in my opinion. If they don't turn around and get to the Western Conference Finals, if not to the finals, he's got to go. You got to
Well,
make a move.
it's going to take less than that for him to stay. I bet you if they make the playoffs if they make the playoffs, he's probably going to stay. I mean, outside the playing game, I bet you he stays.
I mean, he'd have 1 year left on his contract.
I just don't think this
after this year.
Another X factor to this we don't know is, how does this new ownership group feel? Yes, they say Cuban's running the basketball operations side of things, but he only owns, I believe, 27% now. So how does the new ownership feel about all this? Do they give a shit? Or is it just an investment for them? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I feel like their investment right now, they're going to take a more hardier approach probably next year. I'd feel like, than this year. So that could leave Kidd in for another year.
I think that they're going to have more of an invested approach once the casino is built with the arena. I think that basically up to that point, they basically have said, okay, this is just my opinion, just what I think is they're letting Cuban
That's why we're here.
basically keep his, sell us on why we should keep you as the head of basketball operations. You have until
he becomes the president, basically, of basketball operations type of thing.
The CEO of basketball operations. He's the head of it. Could let you run it from then on, but you need to sell us. This is what you have. Once we build the new arena with the casino, if we haven't either won or at least consistently a top tier team, then we're going to go bring somebody else in to run it, and you're going to be just a silent owner at that point.
Right.
That's my opinion. That may be true. It may be completely false. They may not care at all. They may have just bought it just so they had a team to put in to this casino. Right. I don't know, but when you're going to build something of that, you kind of want to be able to bring as many people in as possible, and you want to bring in a quality team, and especially doing that in Dallas, which is controlled by the Dallas Cowboys, unless the teams are successful in the playoffs. It's not like now if they would have done that with the Lakers, or if they would have been with a team that, Vegas is a potential landing spot for an expansion team, you could see maybe that, because it's Vegas. I mean, already, that people are going to be there for that. So being that they did purchase in the Mavericks, there's got to be at least some vested interest, at least in the future, that they want to have a quality product that's going to be running out there as a top team to help bring more people in that venue. At least that's the way I would look at it. But
it's possible.
No,
like I said, that still leaves Kidd in for another year if they just make the playoffs, unfortunately. But
it does. But if that's what it is, and Cuban wants to stay to it, then Cuban continually keeps running the team like he has since we won in 2011, which everybody says was lightning in a bottle, and they haven't done anything since then maybe it's to that point where, we need to kind of wash his influence from the team and do a full overhaul from the top down, the whole top of the organization down. Then that's what it probably needs at that time. And if that's what needs to be done, that's what they'll do, I guess.
We'll see. Time will tell.
So
that is true.
What are y'all's thoughts on the rest of the NBA right now? I can contribute on the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel since the All-Star break that defensively they have not been the same team. Since the All-Star break, they've been 4-3. They struggled.
Cat's been out a whole lot.
Yeah,
That hasn't helped at all.
And he's
and,
going to be
and
out
Anthony
tomorrow
Edwards has
too.
been banged up as well a little bit. And yes, as you said, Caleb Cat will be out tomorrow.
This time of the year, everyone's banged up. Doesn't matter what sport it is. When you get to this point in the season, no one's healthy. It's just who's going to keep persevering on, and that's what they got to hope. They got to keep. They need to get on a nice little streak.
6-game road trip.
They need to win
with
at
only
least
a
4.
half-game lead over the Thunder right now. So
they need to win at least 4 if they don't want Oklahoma City to take them over. Or if they don't want to fall behind Denver either. 4, I say you get 4 out of 6, you're feeling good about that road trip.
And what's going to be interesting is that for a change, Minnesota will be on national TV at 3 out of 6 of those.
Wait, what? Nah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Huh?
Yeah, they'll be on national TV for 3 out of 6 of those games.
Talking about
Good for them.
On the road.
All right, I don't remember them being on
Cleveland
national
and
TV
Los
since the
Angeles.
Spreewell, Garnett, and Cassell days.
Moving on up.
They still can't
the
get
east side.
network television, but they can still get cable with
The big apartment in the sky. Moving
Apple
on up.
pie. Mm-hmm.
And also too,
Yeah.
I have to start eating crow on Milwaukee. Doc Rivers is doing a hell of a job.
I don't know if I do a hell of it. I don't know if I'd put a hell of a job on there, but
defensively
it's starting to stabilize a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So they could actually do
have
something in
become
playoffs
one
this
of
year.
the better, if not one of the best teams defensively in the league now since Doc Rivers has gotten there. And they're on a 6-game win streak right now. Now, granted, no one's catching Boston. We all know that.
Mhm.
But if there's a team that can maybe be second fiddle to Boston in the East, it might be Milwaukee.
Well, I mean,
that's why
we kind of knew that going in. I feel like is with the Damian Lillard edition, like they were going to be 1A, 1B with the Celtics type of thing, and we just have to see how the year played out. Like they're the cream of the East, in my opinion, and were from the start of the year. The Cavaliers have been kind of the surprise ones. I figured they'd be good, but not 3. And the East,
and they were able last night to break Boston's 11-game win streak.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, Cleveland, they've got so many different options. That's a fun team to watch.
They wouldn't be where they are if they didn't take that risk and bring Donovan Mitchell over from Utah.
Oh, no.
For sure. No. Yeah.
That was a huge trade for them. It really was a huge trade. And he's embraced being there in Cleveland, and they put the right pieces around him. And that was just a great move. Great move. I hate to say it about Cleveland, but they did. They made a great move.
Yeah. I mean, they just have a great starting lineup, and it's just a question of.
The thing with Boston, though, is Boston's still got to get that monkey off their back from last year.
Yes.
Being knocked out by Miami, the 10th seed. And that's the thing is they're playing angry now, but can they consistently do that in the playoffs? That's where they need to prove it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to believe it. If they can be the number 1 seed, they can be blowing everybody out. So did the Bruins last year. I know different sport, but the Bruins did that where they looked unstoppable all year long, and then the Panthers knocked them out.
Panthers,
easily.
I know this sounds weird, but I think the difference is Boston. This is going to sound bizarre coming from someone in Dallas, but I think the difference is that they have Kristaps this year. He's that third piece that they need.
He's got to prove it.
He's not the number 2.
Stevens has been pretty well too.
He's number 3, and he's been playing pretty well defensively as well. You're exactly right, Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been a major part of this thing. It's not just going to be Tatum and Brown the whole time. Drew Holiday coming over too has been great. Horford coming off the bench. I mean, This is a
How long is Al
very-
Horford going to play for? Like, I watched it with the Maverick game the other day. I'm like, God,
he's going to
still in
play
the
as
league.
long as Haslam.
As
did.
long as he can
as long,
play,
yeah, as
and
long
he's
as
still-
Haslam did. God.
The thing is, it's like Horford can still contribute, though. He's not
Yes,
a bag
yes.
of dicks out there.
No, he's
Right.
not. He's
Very
not
true.
anybody.
Very
It is.
true.
Not at all.
Very, very true.
But yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot going on there as we're making the push here toward the playoffs. And yeah,
I mean, the West, like I say, the Thunder, they're an exciting team. And the Nuggets have a hard road to hoe to repeat coming out of that West, because right now they're going to have to go through the Thunder at least, and then the Timberwolves, and at least one other team.
Or Clippers, too, they're in the mix. I would still,
They're in the mix, but I still don't think the Clippers are going to be a top team. They'll be out in the division round for sure.
well, I believe
no later
Westbrook got injured the other
or
day,
earlier.
so he's out for a while.
Yeah, I still think the Nuggets are the team to beat out of the West. I know they're a game behind Minnesota right now. They're in third place, but they're the champs. Last time I checked, they still have Jokic. Last time I checked.
And they still just
Murray.
play their game. They just play their game.
And Michael
So-
Porter Jr. has stayed healthy as well. That's been big.
Yeah, that'll
Mhm.
be big for the playoffs.
All they got to do is play their game. They just have to do that, trust in what they're doing, and do it very well. That's what they do. They don't do anything too flashy. They go in there, they do what they do, and they execute it. And that's how they won.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm ready for the playoffs so I can see playoff Jokic again. I don't get enough of my Jokic or Joker
It's
during the
fun to
regular
watch.
season. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, his passing ability is just unreal. Like even just watching his top 20 highlights on YouTube from passing, you're like, golly.
No,
Mhm.
he's the best passing center in the league right now, hands down.
He might be the best passing center in NBA history, excuse me.
I'm sure he's the best passing center in NFL history too.
Good point.
Yeah, but NBA, I think he was. It was Arvidas, but I think he's surpassed at that point right now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you had
Arvidas-
Sabonis, Divac.
If
I'd even
Arvidas
put
could have
Shaq
played in
down
his,
there.
if Arvidas could have
Arvidas
played in
played
the
his
NBA
prime.
during his prime, then there would have been something to talk about. But
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's another what if, another big
Yeah.
what if.
It's one of the hugest what ifs in the NBA history, and an unfortunate one. But yeah, he was
Think
still
he's
great, and
the-
it was
it'll
just
be
a shell.
That and if Brandon Roy's knees could have held out,
Oh god.
Or
they
Derrick
still
Rose's
almost-
knees.
Yeah.
Or-
they still
or
almost
if Roy
knocked him
Tarpley
out
could have stayed
down.
off the sauce.
Yeah, and the white
Yeah.
stuff.
Many good ones.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be right back with some more college basketball right after this. And welcome back from the break as we're moving on past the NBA into college basketball. And at that time of
it's
the year,
March.
we're now in March.
March.
It is March Madness time. And want to let everyone know before we get into the segment to make sure to look out on our social media to get ready for the link to join our bracket challenge. You want to get in to get your chance at winning a $50 gift card. So come in, join us in our bracket tournament, and see if you can beat the three of us. Worth $50 if you can. So we'll
Yep.
be sending that. We'll be sending those links and other information about that out on our social media. So keep your eye out and be posted for it. Like and follow, subscribe to everything. That way you don't miss out on that. So change your Huskies are now sitting at number 2,
Yeah, we knew it was coming.
taken
after
over by the
loss.
Houston Cougars. Houston.
This is the other team
Number
I
one.
think could actually win. To me, right now, the two teams that should be in the running, now we know March Madness how it goes, is UConn and Houston. Going in, those are the two teams I think have the best statistical chance to make it to the championship and win the tournament overall.
I can't
But
argue with on that.
We'll have to
The
see
only
when the bracket comes out, because there could be a weird fluky team that comes up and just takes
Well,
one of
there
them
always
out.
is. It's every year who's going to be the Cinderella story.
Well, somebody
gonna
takes
be that
somebody out.
one?
You're right there, but I'm just saying those two teams in particular in that instance. But yeah.
So who's going? I'm just curious to see who's going to take Purdue out early.
Oh man, it could be Creighton. Creighton's hot right now. But
Creighton
yeah,
is very hot.
Purdue's
Wow.
yeah. Purdue, I think, are actually going to last longer than last year.
I don't think so.
But it's not going to be much longer by any means.
And who's going to
I
go
don't
out
think.
first, Purdue or Tennessee?
Tennessee is always
Yeah.
What's interesting about Tennessee now, though, is that the consensus was for a while that it's going to be in no particular order: Houston, UConn, Purdue, and Arizona. But I think with the way Tennessee is playing right now, they surpassed Arizona, and they'll take the other number one seed.
Yeah, they'll take that
fourth
number one seed for the four regional areas of the bracket in the tournament for sure. I mean, like I said, they win against South Carolina tonight. They go against Connecticut. Yeah, on the road, correct. And they're going to play Connecticut, as we discussed. Kentucky. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
You got the Huskies on the brain. You can't help that.
I know, right? It's like I said what I wanted to say. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I feel like Purdue would go out before Tennessee. I think Tennessee's the more well-rounded team. And for some reason, I think Purdue's coach just holds them back. And he's going to cost them in a game.
Well, defensively has been always the issue with Purdue. I think the difference from last year and this year is that I think they're a much better defensive team than they were last year.
And that's why I think they'll last longer.
A lot better.
But
yeah, and that's why I think Purdue is.
I mean, I could see actually Tennessee knocking out Purdue.
Yeah,
I mean, I could actually see, depending on how all these. Well, that's not going to go into like the Final Four at this rate, because as we originally were discussing, Tennessee is going to take Arizona over that number one.
Yeah, that would have to be definitely Final Four matchup.
And what's interesting is that Purdue and Tennessee went against each other in Maui over the Thanksgiving holiday earlier this year in the Maui Invitational, and Purdue did win that game, but Tennessee can certainly win the rematch. It was a very, very close game the first time they played.
I think this Tennessee team's is a different team than that they matched up then, though. Completely different.
Oh, yeah. Every team changes. Yeah. Like Creighton wasn't a good team at the start of the year, but they are crazy hot right now.
They've been crazy hot for a while. Like they've been just
kind of. I think give them about a month.
Is scary good.
Creighton about hot for a month.
They've been. Well, I mean, they've been simmering under the surface for a few months now.
I think
they were losing a game here and there, but they were really playing well.
I feel like that's when they really started simmering, is right after that Connecticut loss. Then Creighton's like, oh, okay, now it's time to actually play for real.
Yeah, it's like the meme of the guy, sitting back playing video games and then actually sitting up.
Right, like you're playing against your nephew or something. Like he says something like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, game on.
But
like what I'll do to my kids in Mario Kart when they get older.
Right. Oh, here's a red shell and a spike. But no, I do agree with you, Jeff, for sure. Tennessee should overtake Arizona as the number one and be the fourth number one.
What I love too about Creighton as well, just to jump on y'all's.
And I think Creighton could be a 3 or a number 2 in all honesty, but I'm not sure they'll get a 2.
I think they'll get a 3 though, because they're
3 or 4 is probably where they'll be.
Because this is a team that barely missed out on the Final Four last year, that lost to San Diego State.
Good point.
Right at the end of the Elite Eight game. They also have the same team coming that went to the Elite Eight last year. They have a ton of experience and a coach that has been there before. This is, to me, a team that I do not.
Oh, no. Yeah. This is definitely a team you don't want to face on opening weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
if
gonna
you draw them in the Elite Eight. I mean, I don't. If I'm a number
yeah,
one
we'll have
seed,
to
and
see
I
how
have
the
to go
tournament goes
against
at
them.
that point. At that point, there could be
Yeah.
an injury or something fluky happen.
Yeah.
But I want to turn the attention a little bit to another Big East team, but one that's in the opposite direction of Creighton and kind of going downhill. That's Marquette. Currently ranked number 5 in the nation. Kolek is out for the rest of the season with an oblique injury, but Shaka
Now,
Smart's
regular
saying he's
season.
hoping.
Let's
Regular
clarify
season,
that.
you're right.
Regular
Yeah,
season.
regular season. Shaka
They're on
Smart's hoping
TV right
he'll
now.
be
They actually
back.
have him ranked as 8. Not
Oh, is it
5th.
8? Excuse me. My
Yeah,
bad.
they
They're
dropped
8
lower.
now.
So, hey, well, it just proves what you were saying. They're
They're
dropping
on the
down.
downhill. You're right.
Hey, Justin was talking. They dropped 3 spots. Look at that.
But yeah, no, Shaka Smart, the Marquette's coach, is pretty sure he's gonna, or is pretty hopeful. He said that Kolek's gonna be back in time for the Big East tournament. Now Marquette with the loss today, which they're down 59-52 with about 11 left in the second quarter, and I expect them to lose to Connecticut today, especially with Kolek out. Then they're going to be number 3 in the Big East tournament seeding wise, because Creighton's going to move up to number 2. So a little interesting seeding wise, but
Villanova. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, pending they beat Villanova, but like I said, this could be interesting as far as seeding goes for the Big East tournament too. And if Kolek is not able to go for the remainder of the year, that's a huge loss for Marquette.
Then we're talking about a completely different Marquette team at that point. We're talking about a team that's probably on the verge of getting eliminated.
The team doesn't scare you at
round.
that point. They're not. You're not scared of Marquette anymore.
No.
That's what it is.
True.
No, Marquette, you can beat them. You come in out there and you play solidly. You play your game. You're going to knock them out.
Yeah,
because they can't hang with you.
You're not wrong.
Right. And also, too, I think Marquette at times has been a little bit of a liability on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've talked about Marquette's deficiencies for all season long.
Shooter, and then you're really relying
on
assist
passer. I mean, Marquette had 2 assists in the first half of the game today. I mean,
yeah,
that's crazy for them. They live on the assist and they live on the 3-point ball. And like you said, without their number 1 assist guy and one of their top 3-point shooters, you don't worry about Marquette, but where they are and where they might be seated in the tourney, depending on what they do in the Big East tournament, without Kolek,
yeah,
you could be talking about an 8 or 9 that maybe knocks off somebody or just goes out in the first round. Where you were talking about Marquette possibly making at least an Elite 8. Is what most people were saying.
Kolek is the most valuable player on that team. We know that, just as you mentioned, not only his scoring ability, but his passing ability.
Well, I mean, he's a Player of the Year candidate along with Zach Edey and a couple other players, of course.
Sure, Jamal Shedd is in that mix as well out of U of H. But yes,
I'm really excited about this Big East tournament because there are a lot of seeding implications that are come. There are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I
say, the Big East is one of the tournaments you've got to watch this year.
And of course, the team that I follow, Providence, they need to have a good showing. They need to come out to actually even get in.
Basically, what's crazy is that in the Big East, you have 3 teams that are locks: UConn, Marquette, Creighton. We all know that. And then you have 4 teams that are squarely on the bubble right now with Seton Hall, St. John's, Villanova, and Providence. Seton Hall scored a huge win against Villanova tonight.
Yeah, I see Seton Hall getting in.
I think
Seton Hall I can see getting in.
But
it's going to be fine. St. John's, I think they're going to backdoor. Well, I should say backdoor in.
You're right, backdoor in.
But
yeah,
and then Providence is going to be the key. They have a huge game against UConn on Saturday in the Dunkin' Donuts Arena. That's huge. I mean, they're probably not going to win that
this
game.
Saturday. UConn and Providence, cannot wait. That's going to be a great game.
And if Providence were to somehow win that game, they're going to get in. But what's going to be
kind of nerve-wracking to me is what Providence can do in the Big East tournament. They have to show up and play, because if they screw around in this tournament, then you're talking, you're going to the NIT. So
That's possible.
It's a very scary game, and they probably would have loved to beat Villanova this past Saturday at home, and they didn't.
They needed to. That was a game they really needed to have.
And I feel like if they would
sure.
have beat Villanova, then they would be in a good spot right now. But they didn't, and then so now they're in a position where they don't necessarily have to beat UConn, but they need to certainly have a good showing in the Big East tournament, or else they're going to be on the outside looking in.
Very true.
I completely agree.
Can I take us to another conference then, if we're good with the Big East, gentlemen?
Yes.
I want to jump over to the Big 12.
The best conference in basketball.
It is. I mean, you've got, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams almost guaranteed to go out of the Big 12 at least.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say
with obvious one of the 4 number ones, Houston.
9. Yes.
Yeah, highly possible. And Houston's still playing good ball, but let's not forget what's going on too a little bit further down. Baylor beat Kansas. Now they almost lost to Texas, but they did beat Texas as well. But Kansas
Baylor's back.
Yeah, Baylor's back, baby. But also Kansas falling. I mean, they were a number 1, I think, at the start of the year. They were the number 1. And they're number 14 currently in the rankings. And they're even 5th right now in the Big 12 standings. How far they've fallen too, kind of a little bit like Marquette. And I'm not sure why necessarily they're falling. I mean, McClure has had injuries and stuff, but
McCullough isn't there. And Hunter Dickinson hasn't been as good this year.
You're right. Yeah, he's been kind of playing to play. He's going through the motions, it seems like.
Offensively, they've been a big liability now. That Johnny Furphy that they have has been a pretty solid player, but he's still not scoring at the rate that you'd like. He's just a freshman, but still, I think their ability or lack thereof to score has been a big issue for them. One team that I want to bring up in the Big 12 that I'm really impressed with, and they're doing a great job tonight, is the BYU Cougars. They went on the road to Kansas that we just mentioned last week, went on the road to one of the toughest places to play in Fog Allen Fieldhouse, won that. And now they're currently on the road at Iowa State, who I have as a 2 seed at this point in time. They're up by 12.
I can agree with that.
If they're able to win that game, watch out for this BYU team coming into the NCAA tournament. This team can really score and shoot.
Very, very true, good sir. Good points.
Stormin' Mormons.
Yes. Plenty of them on this team, I believe.
You're not wrong. Oh, hold on. Let me get over here.
Already took out. I was going to say watch out for Iowa State, but you already brought that up. We talked about Iowa State in the past, but yeah, don't forget Iowa State. I think they're going to be a team to watch coming here in the tourney.
Yeah, it's just.
they beat Purdue a couple weeks ago.
Well, it's just a matter of Iowa's. Well, the problem with Iowa State. Oh no, I was just going to say the problem with Iowa State is that they need to these scoring droughts. Their defense is so good. That's probably the second best in the country next to U of H. But the problem is this Iowa State team gets on scoring droughts, and it burned them last year in the NCAA tournament. That's why they got out early.
Very true.
That's the only thing I worry about with this Iowa State team. But if they somehow avoid those scoring droughts, the defense is always going to be there, and they're very, very tough out. I agree with that.
Very true. All
right.
If we have nothing else on the Big 12, I kind of want to bring up one more item on the agenda for you gentlemen.
Larry,
go for it.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff, for the lead in. The great Larry Blurd or as he's also known, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Robbie Avila out of Indiana State, straight balling this year. Man's been pretty good. Same Indiana State that brought us Larry Bird back in the day, which is one of the reasons he's nicknamed Larry Bird. The kid he's a bigger guy with kind of the sports goggles on. Looks like he can't really play, but he scores 35 or 20 on most given nights. He's averaging 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists on 55% shooting. So he's having a good year. And then he got Indiana State all the way up to 23rd in the top 25 rankings a couple weeks ago, I believe. So we could we be seeing this guy in the tournament? I'm thinking he's going to get the NIT because as we know with SMU, when they were ranked in the top 25 and didn't make the tournament, that even though you can be ranked, you're not going to get in the tournament necessarily.
Well, the thing is as long as if Indiana State wins the conference tournament, they'll get the automatic bid. So
that's true.
I think it's going to take them winning the conference tournament, but we can certainly see Robbie Avila in the NCAA tournament. If we do, he is going to be a household name for a couple weeks in the sports world.
Yeah,
because that guy will be an immediate meme. And also, too, what's fun about him?
He already should be. I just looked up his picture. Good Lord.
Yeah, I told you. He looks like you're like, this guy shouldn't be playing basketball, but he's great at it.
And what's interesting about him is that he can make the three as well. So
yes, very true. He can play down low and he can make the three. Let's say, this is a 55% shooter.
So if this guy shows up and plays well, he is going to be a fun player to watch in the tournament.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I'm hoping he gets in, even if it's in a play-in game. Like, let's just put him in the tournament. Let's go. But I don't see the committee doing it.
Well,
without a tournament, without a conference win.
Well, yeah, sure. I agree with that.
Like in one of the pictures they had of him, it looked like he had like a full on like rocker mullet. And I'm like, man, if he had like a full on mullet and was playing like this, he'd be iconic at this point. He'd already be a meme for everything right now. And that's what I was looking to see, and it was just a picture. It made it look like it. No, his hair's short, but
yeah, he's got.
What he needs to rock out a mullet. He needs to grow that thing out.
He should. If he had some Adam Morrison hair too, yeah, be crazy.
Like he needs a mullet like what was it? Stifler, Sean William Scott in what was it? I saw it earlier today in Old School. Where he's taking care of the pony and Will Ferrell shoots himself to the neck with the tranquilizer dart. He needs if he had a mullet like that, give Robbie Avila that mullet and him play ball like he's doing.
I just want the announcers to say some of these nicknames too, if they dare.
If it was RJ Choppy, he would do it. Without a second thought, he would do it.
True. But the great Indiana State, I like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's one of my favorites. But I want Indiana State in, gentlemen. That's all I'm saying.
No, I would love to see them get in.
Props to Robbie. Props to Robbie. He's good.
In all seriousness, they can win games in the NCAA tournament too. So
I don't see them. The only way I see them getting in is if they get in one of those play-in.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking too. Yeah, if they don't win the conference tournament, they're probably not getting. Yeah.
So you win a conference tournament, I think they have a chance to get a play-in and get in. But I would like to see it. I think that would be fun. All right, well, we'll go ahead and take it there, and we'll be back here in just a few moments. And welcome back from the break. And we're going to talk here now a little NFL action, which we're in the little doldrums of NFL of football. But there's been a lot of action that's been happening today in the last couple of weeks. A lot of players getting cut, a lot of a lot of interesting action going along.
A lot of cap casualties.
Yes, a lot of cap casualties. So a lot of stuff going on there that we just felt needed to be brought up now, especially, here in the middle, getting ready for next season. And lots of different players got cut. So one that we were just talking about, before we started the segment is Buffalo making some big cuts there on their defense. I'll go throw it to you guys. Go ahead and run with that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about they're cutting basically half their secondary. Pro Bowler Jordan Pryor, Tre'Davious White, and even their All-Pro center Mitch Morse, along with a special teams player, got cut today by Buffalo. That window seems like it's shrinking to get that Super Bowl in.
I can tell you that window shrunk a little bit less because with all these cuts, they had to make room for their big signing this week. For their big signing today. Did you see who they signed?
I have not actually. Who'd they sign?
They brought in, drum roll please. I don't think I have one, so let's go. Mitchell Trubisky has signed with the Buffalo Bills.
They brought him back.
Right. Yeah, boo that man. That's
I
funny,
said, if I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. This Trubisky should not get an NFL contract again. But of course, what team gives it to him? The Bills.
The Bills.
The four
as the backup QB.
Now, to me, this is the fifth fall of Buffalo right here. You don't sign Mitch Trubisky. He's terrible.
Oh.
He's proven he has successfully played himself out of contracts. How are you going to then sign him to one? I just saw that today. I was like, I threw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
I was like, come on. There's no reason for this.
He's not starting for them.
Yeah, he's not starting.
No, he's not.
He's
but you watch
backup.
right now, because of this, Jared Allen's going to get hurt. Josh Allen's going to get hurt.
Oh,
Josh
that
Allen's
would be
gonna
the
get hurt
curse of Buffalo.
In preseason. He's not going to get to play at the beginning of the year. It's not going to be like an Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be in preseason.
Yeah. He'll pull a Rodgers, I think. And
something's going to happen, and then they're going to have to play with Trubisky. And they're gone. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen.
That'll be all
going to happen
that season for sure.
And there's going to be some reason that Trubisky's going to have to play.
They're going to trade for Justin Jefferson, and that's why they're clearing some of this cap space to get him from the Vikings.
So basically doing like they did with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. You'd have Diggs and Jefferson as your top two wideouts. But then you go back to the question of where's the run game?
That's what it was last year. Where's the run game?
Yeah.
You have no run game.
Yeah. I mean, they started up a
Cook
little
ran against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
That was it.
Right. Yeah. Cook had a little bit of a spurt at the second half of the season, but I don't think he's a long-term solution or a guy that can consistently get you yards.
Unless if he's going against the Cowboys, then.
Yeah, true. Unless it's against the Cowboys.
At the end of the day, they're gutting their defense to possibly bolster their offense.
But
they do, but you're sacrificing defense to add another receiver.
You are. And I'm surprised they were able to keep that defense together as long as they did, in all honesty.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean,
defense wins championships. I mean, everyone can say, well, look at Patrick Mahomes. A great offense can just fucking do wonders for you. That's a generational talent.
It is generational talent. And Josh Allen hasn't proven to be a generational talent.
He's tied with the league leads interception. I mean, if he stays in the league long enough, he could very well break Brett Favre's interception record.
Yeah, he definitely could, unless Dak breaks it first.
Possible, yep. But I think Allen's way on his head, way out ahead at that point. But craziness.
That's the thing is that it just Buffalo. I think their window's closed. I think they're done. They had their opportunity. And their opportunity came with Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing.
And Joe Burrow the year before.
Yeah, true.
Yes, Joe Burrow. I'm sorry.
Joe Burrow. Well, who's this
He
guy?
needs to play a full
Did he
season
play
again, and then
last
he
year?
can come talk. Then he can come sit at the big kid table. But
Made
that's
to
the
a
thing.
Super Bowl, Josh Allen.
with the Chiefs,
touche.
and as everybody's tired of hearing about the Chiefs because they're so annoyed by Taylor Swift and everything else going on with it. You got to look back. They lost Tyreek Hill. They had no receivers. We talked about it all season. How their receiving core was putrid, but yet they changed the way they ran their offense,
Leave it to Andy Reid, man.
and they won.
Yeah.
Their defense
Chess
stood up
master,
and won the game.
the Grandmaster won that game. Now that's one of the best defenses that the Chiefs have had in a long time. It didn't look like it in Detroit the first game, but that turned into one of the best defenses that the Chiefs have had.
But also,
with Mahomes.
Jones was not in that game. He was still sitting out.
Well, yeah,
on that Detroit game, so that changed that whole
game.
defense a whole lot. I mean, you
It
say that
did
one
to start
player
the
can't
season,
change
but
things,
then
but
the younger players started stepping up later in the season.
They
Now, I
did.
still think the Chiefs get away with a lot of fucking holding calls and shit, but every team does.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that with Buffalo, they've had their opportunities, and they kind of do like Mike McCarthy. Okay, well, this is our plan. McDermott goes, this is our plan. This is how we're going to go with it. He doesn't seem like he wants to change it as the season goes along. And it's you got to do.
Punched in the face, he gets phased basically.
And that's the thing is they don't have a running game to lean back on. At least the Chiefs had Pacheco, who came out there. Rutgers, they got another Rutgers running back who comes out there and actually runs hard, but at least he's not kicking women in an elevator. So that's
a plus at the moment, at least.
That's a plus. It's a plus for that. But it's you're not going to change. You got to get a running back in there. You need to get some kind of running game to help.
You need a
get
consistent
pressure off of Allen. You have to. And
even
they
if
don't
it's
seem
taking
to care.
the Michigan guy in the second round, Corum.
Did you see Corum when he hit the bench press?
I was going to bring it up.
Holy
he benched
goodness.
as much as Alt did, the Notre Dame guard, our tackle. That's highly talented.
I watched the both of them.
He killed it.
Oh, he destroyed it. Wow, that was impressive. Holy crap.
I mean, we've seen it. He's got the ability to hit that hole and take people down the field with him.
Watching him hit that bench press, it was like, wow. It looked like it should have been opposite. Like the guard should have been hitting as hard as he did.
Maybe
for
feature
sure.
Cowboy or feature Bengal running back.
I would take him.
It's possible,
Maybe
but right now,
Raven
supposedly,
running
he's
back.
still projected to be a second round pick. It's just going to be
Second
high
round.
second now.
Then get him at a steal. Get him at a steal at the high second round. You're not paying first round price on him, and you're getting the hell of a player. He's got his head on.
The tape shows that he's pretty good, and so far all the measurements seem on track.
Everything sounds good, and you listen to him talk, and from what I've seen, at least from it, he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's not a diva. He wants to come in. He wants to contribute.
Even
he's
during
willing
the
to contribute any way that he
the
can.
national championship games, he was pretty solid in the interview portion.
Yeah, from everything you can see, he's just a guy that likes to come in and contribute, and do his part, and works as hard as he can to be the best that he can be. That's what you want.
He's built like a fullback, but runs like an actual running back. So to me, he's gonna be a good player. Exactly. I do think highly of Chrome. I do. I really do. Now I want to watch a little more tape just to make sure my findings are accurate. But I think this guy could be really good, especially in the second round. You're going to be a steal.
I would
That's
not complain. I would not complain getting him for the Cowboys game in the second round. Even if you traded up and got him in the early second round, I'd be okay with that.
Oh, no. That would be a good pick for the Cowboys. Because right now you've got dang it. Who the little guy from Kansas State? I can't remember his name. Sorry. Who you didn't think. Deuce Vaughn, yeah. The fast guy. But you pair him with Corum, I think you got a great 1-2 punch. I think Vaughn's a little underrated too.
But even then, even say they did go up a draft and get go up in the draft and get him in the second round, I still think that they're going to be out there on that free agent market. There's a lot of rumors of Saquon Barkley coming in.
Yeah,
with him leaving that, I wouldn't complain with that. I would worry a little bit about the
Yeah, the
injuries.
injury history. Mm-hmm.
But
which is why I
you
don't
know-
see the Ravens signing him.
at the same time, with the injury history, he's got a little bit more tread on the tires than Derrick Henry does, just because he has been injured, so he hasn't been running as much. He hasn't been taking the hits,
And he's
absorbing
also
hits and
better in the
everything.
passing game.
Yeah,
1,000 times better
So
than Henry is.
when it comes down to like before the Giants basically were like, hey, we're not re-signing Saquon. I was all on go get Derrick Henry and whoever you can get, in the draft. Go, that's good. I wasn't expectfully looking for Corum, but I'm good with getting him now. I'm okay with that. But
yeah, well, just be careful. Don't be wild by something at the combine just because it's amazing.
Well,
We've seen that before.
I'm not like with the Xavier Worthy, where he jumped from a second round projected pick to a first round just for that. I mean,
everybody's addicted to speed. I mean, the guy beat supposedly Usain Bolt's 40 time by 0.02 seconds. The fastest ever NFL combine time. Now, I like Xavier, but I would say he's a second round pick too.
No, I completely agree with you.
He hits and the speed, and he seems to know where he is out on the
field. Watching him this year, I was like, he's a good player. He's a guy you want to have on your team, but I don't see him as a number one. He's not a number one.
It's scary because he's only 164 pounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I put him in the second category.
Yes, because you're putting him in the slot.
Yeah.
You're putting him in the slot because you want him going against that third cornerback, maybe a nickelback, that he's not going to get exposed and ripped apart, because that's what you have to do. And if he's of course, at 160 as he is, he's going to have to bulk up. How is that speed going to stay with him as he puts on some muscle?
I'll say this, though.
Very
How
true.
scared would you be if you're a team in the AFC if the Chiefs took him at pick 32 and 80?
That's where he's projected right now, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of people projecting going to the Chiefs.
God.
Yeah. I would hate it, honestly, as a Baltimore fan, being in the AFC.
I wonder if they would try and turn him into the next Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
They might throw him on the offense too, just to see if he can be a two-way player. But I don't know. It's crazy. But also, speaking of crazy,
if he was the size of DK Metcalf, then I'd be a little worried about going to the Chiefs anybody else.
Yeah.
But very true, very true. I mean, I wouldn't like it because I think he's a good player. Like I said, Xavier, I just don't think he's a first round value. But speaking of crazy, Caleb Williams, I feel, is doing everything you're not supposed to do to be a number one pick. Like, you don't go to medical. You try to restructure deals. You have crazy people around you. It seems like, it seems like mostly his dad is the guy saying some of this crazy stuff. Where you're just like, well, we can't do that because it's in the players' agreement and it's in the contracts. We can't do that, sir. And ownership of teams to get around it and stuff. And
Well, we don't know about the ownership stuff.
Yeah. Well, supposedly it's a done deal, though, that Fields is gone and Caleb Williams is the Bears' number one pick.
I would assume that's the case.
I think the Bears, because they're going to suck again. Because he is a bust and a half.
It did see that Fields is going to be going to Atlanta. From everything that I've been seeing, I believe he's going there.
And I wish him luck. I think he could succeed in Atlanta.
I think he could. I think that would be the perfect situation for him.
The stability in Atlanta and the stability in Chicago is about the same. This is a guy who had at least two different head coaches and like 3 OCs in his rookie contract while with the Bears. There's no stability there.
Now, the thing is, he had more. And I'm looking this as a personnel of what he's getting to work with now. He had more, and that was about it, because there were so many other injuries that he had right there. Being able to give him Drake London and Kyle Pitts to work with, I think is going to be a step up for him. And then, of course, they've got
now they got to get that offensive line.
They got Bijan Robinson. Well, they got Bijan Robinson to help out as well. So he's actually got a good, solid running back there behind him. I think he's going to be in a better situation personnel wise, and I just think it's going to be a good breath of fresh air for him. Is there?
I think so.
But-
yeah, I think Fields will take off if he goes to Atlanta. And like I said, Caleb Williams to me is the bust of the draft because he's going to be taken
absolutely.
so
Yeah, absolutely.
highly, and the Bears are just going to suck again.
And that's fine.
Well, they haven't had a good
I'm okay with it.
quarterback in like.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't have any skin in the game
McMahon.
as far as Bears
Yeah,
go.
since Jim McMahon.
But
Or do you want to bring Rex Grossman into
yeah,
it?
as I said, we bring in Rex Grossman. I think he holds our touchdown record.
Hey, he brought him to the Super Bowl.
He did.
Yeah,
Florida
very
Sun.
true. Very true.
But yeah, I watched a little of this earlier this week. It was Shannon Sharp and Ochocinco were talking about Caleb Williams and how he's refused to have an agent, everything, and because his dad told him the agent gets 10%. So when you're a first round pick, you already get your money's guaranteed if you're a first round pick. So why do you need an agent at that point? But I can see where you're coming with that. But at the same time, you need someone who's going to help guide your career, and that's the cost of doing business. Yes, you're going to have to pay them money, but you're making a lot of money. It seems to me that his dad is so worried about how much we're spending now. Well, don't think about right now. You're thinking about the future and this person who's guiding you the rest of your career so that you don't fail.
Right.
So you move forward. You want to get, as much as everybody talks bad about Scott Boras, you want Scott Boras as your agent because he's going to fight for you left and right from the beginning. And yes, he's going to get his cut. He's going to get paid too, but that's the reason why, because you have Scott Boras taking care of you your entire career at that point.
Right.
With him not getting an agent now, it's going to show these top agents aren't going to want to work with him. So later when it comes to his career and to negotiating, he's going to get railroaded if his dad's in there negotiating for him
Highly possible.
with these owners and GMs who are just going to be like, especially as we all agree, he's going to flame out in Chicago because he's already proven he's a flame out at USC.
He better be freaking good is all I'll say.
He needs to do what Lamar Jackson did.
Yes.
But the thing is, Lamar Jackson had the chip on his shoulder to be able to do it. And he took it personally.
So, yeah, I mean, basically you're asking Caleb Williams to be a 2-time NFL MVP.
At that point, then you can represent yourself because you know what you're worth and you're smart enough to do it. But I don't think Caleb Williams is smart enough to do it.
I don't think so either.
He's got all the talent in the world, but he doesn't have it up here. And honestly, I think he could, but I think he's
the only thing
Caleb
Williams has, honestly, is arm talent. That's the only talent he has as a QB, and the ability to scramble some. Yeah,
you can run.
But that's about it.
To me, I think you're going to see another talented kid end up listening to the wrong people. And unfortunately, at this point, it looks like it is going to be his dad who's ruining his career. And sometimes you have to stand up and, you need to. I'm not one to say, hey, walk away from your parents unless you have to. But, they're the people that raised you, that brought you along with all that, unless you've got a very, very good reason. But sometimes if it's your career, you need to take control of it and do it the correct way. And really, okay, yeah, you're going to have to pay an agent. Guess what? You're still making millions of dollars. Have someone who has experience dealing with this, deal with it. Pay the expert. There's a reason why you pay him 10% because he's an expert. He knows how to deal with all the ins and outs of all the contract work that you don't effing know what to do because you're playing football.
Pay that's what you want your focus on.
Yeah, that's why you pay him 10%, because he's going to take care of you and make sure you don't do anything stupid and lose all this money.
Like
it's an investment into your future by paying these agents.
It is. You're not wrong.
I mean, it is. It's a racket. Okay, yeah, you immediately give them 10% when you get in. I understand that seems like it, but you have to think of it as an investment. You're investing into someone who is an expert in this field, who's going to have And that's why you can't just take the first guy that comes to you. You need to do a little research into it and find out who's going to have your best interest at heart. But you're investing into this person to have your best interest, to fight for you when it comes to contract time. When it comes to the end of this rookie contract, when in most NFL, you've passed your prime as these young players, and it's the name you build up to that point, which gets you paid, unless you're a generational talent like Patrick Mahomes. You need to build off your name so you get paid again. You're paying this guy to fight for you, to get you as much money, because it also takes more money as well, too. That's what Scott Boras is for, because those guys are going to go to bat for you, and they're going to get you what you deserve. So,
and I tell you what, I mean,
I'll get off my soapbox, but I agree with you. I think he's going to flame out, and he's not doing himself any favors later on. Right now, no one's going to want to work with him.
Honestly, with all the red flags, I'm surprised he's still number one picks, but it is Chicago.
I just think I was about to say the same thing, Caleb, as if like.
Sorry, Jeff.
No. I was just saying that he is incredibly talented, and so he's been able to survive being the number one overall pick. But if I was a GM, I wouldn't take Caleb Williams number one.
I mean, no.
It's just there's just too many red flags for me.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it too, it's not like he was that great at USC this year.
He was terrible. He was the best game he played was when he came in for when he stepped into that national title game for what's his name? My brain just went away. At Oklahoma. We came in for the Cotton Bowl. Came in for the national title game. We came in for the Cotton Bowl game against Texas because why my brain went away.
Yeah. I can't help you, unfortunately.
What's his name? He's the Eagles quarterback. God, why am my brain's not working?
Jalen Hurts.
For Hurts, yeah. When Hurts got hurt, he came in for Jalen Hurts in that Cotton Bowl game and won it against Texas his freshman year. Because Texas was dominating, then Hurts got hurt.
Yeah.
And then Caleb came in and completely dominated and won the rest of the game. But that was the best game he's played. Since then, he hasn't done jack. He's not done jack. Especially when he went to USC.
Yeah. I mean, he
went over. He hasn't done anything. They have not even they've been ranked every year at the beginning of the season and have completely fallen off every single time. He's done nothing to help show that he deserves to be the number one pick.
Yeah. And I mean, so he was running for his life this year. But like I said, I hated his progression reads, and his ability to handle the blitz just did not look good, especially this year.
But even though he doesn't deserve to be, I really hope Chicago takes him. I really do. Go Chicago.
At this point, they almost
continue sucking.
That's where you go to die if you're a quarterback.
Continue sucking, Chicago. I'm A-okay with the Bears sucking. Not a Bears fan by any means.
The only problem with the Bears sucking is the Green Bay Packers have now basically taken over that division for the next 3 to 5 years with this pick.
So you're writing off Detroit already?
Unfortunately so.
Really? Mm-hmm. Explain yourself.
I'll explain myself later when we get into the season.
No, you can't just leave us hanging like that. That's bullshit. You can't.
We're talking about combine shit and everything.
Yeah, so you're going to sit there and
that comment.
Yeah.
And
all right.
They won the division. They went.
Listen up, ladies and gentlemen.
Holy crap.
That defense and that offense is only going to be better next year. And Detroit's going to take a step back. They have to. They were, what was it? They won like 5 3-point games. And I just see them getting back to the mean on that. Because usually I think the mean's about like 2 or 3, where you win the close games, especially against opponents you're not supposed to. So I just see them regressing a little.
Well, they could regress a little, but I don't see it being that much that this is now Green Bay's division hands down. I think it's going to be a slugfest between Green Bay and Detroit. I think I know they are, but I don't think that it's just automatically Green Bay's division. Green Bay needs to go and beat Detroit. They're going to have. I think that those two Green Bay Detroit games are going to be
They're
Sunday
gonna go
night,
see TV
Monday night
for
football
sure.
games. Those are going to be.
They should.
Those aren't going to be a Sunday noon game. I can tell you right now.
But
I
that's
think
two
those are going to
games
be
out of
what
the
it
year
is.
for Green Bay.
That is
Detroit's
2 games out of the year. It's
have
2 games out of the year for
Plus,
Detroit
next year
too.
Detroit's gonna have a hard schedule, or
Right,
harder than they did
true.
this past year.
I
'cause
still
they
think Dan
division
Campbell's going to have
winners.
them ready for it, but I just don't think all of a sudden, oh yeah, Green Bay looked good because they beat Dallas. They're going to be great.
No,
Yeah.
we know beating Dallas doesn't mean you're a good team. That just means that
Apparently
you
it
beat
does.
Dallas.
Apparently it does. You beat them in the playoffs. Apparently you're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Like Detroit, though, think about the close game that they did lose, like that Seattle game. That's a game that they should have won. I think more often than not, they won that. Not to mention, we just stated Dallas, that crazy ass 2-point conversion deal. If it weren't for that, I think there's a good chance that Detroit would have beat Dallas that game. So so I think it all evens out at the end, and I think it's a little rash to say.
It's
that
possible.
Detroit.
We'll see how it goes. I was like, I see Green Bay as a division winner next year and the year after that. The third year starts when you're like, we'll see how it goes.
So wait, so you're saying, yeah? I mean, you're saying
You've
that
got him riled up now. Okay.
No, you're
I
saying
know.
beating Dallas isn't a big deal, but then you're basing Green
It's
Bay's
not.
performance against Dallas, saying that they're going.
No, I
to-
didn't say it's because of the
That's
Dallas
what you're
game.
saying. That's
I said-
exactly what you're,
I said
that's
they're
what
going
you're
to beat
implying.
Detroit next
That's
year
what you're
because of the
implying.
schedule and everything. I didn't say it's
Based
because
off-
they beat Dallas. It's because Detroit's schedule, they're going to regress. Green Bay's going to improve.
But Green
Follow
Bay's
the
still
argument.
gonna have the- Green Bay's gonna
Children,
have the second
children.
best schedule.
All right.
Whatever. Like I said, like
Yeah,
I'm not
you know,
necessarily
you beat
prepared to fight
Dallas,
this argument yet, so you're battling me
you suck.
unwits. But I still think
But
that
you beat
You're
Green
being
Bay's
dinged.
going to have that division for a while.
All right. Well, since we brought up Dallas, Seattle cutting Jamal Adams and Diggs,
Yep. No relation.
and there's been a lot of chat about Jamal Adams since he's from the Dallas area. He wanted to, even when he was leaving the Jets, he wanted to be traded to
And
Dallas.
They tried to get him too, supposedly.
for a first round pick. They did.
Mhm.
And the interest as a Dallas fan for myself in Jamal Adams, 0.
With
I
the
have
injury
no-
history lately, I think it's got to be 0.
Well, I heard this
Or he
earlier on
gets
the
a
radio.
1 year make it or break it type of thing.
Well, that's the 1 year make it or break it. And there's a lot of things on this. Is that his first season with Seattle coming over from the Jets, he had 9 sacks. From the after
Yeah,
that,
but you get him for interceptions and sacks. The
no,
total
you don't get for
player.
interceptions. He's putrid in coverage. He's good on the run. He's terrible in coverage. He had 9 sacks his first season with Seattle. After that, 0. He's not had a single sack since his
He
first
hasn't
season
played a
with
full
Seattle.
season, I think,
He
since that
hasn't.
first season either.
He hasn't.
Like he played 3 games 1 year total. Ugh.
Yes.
He's only played 2 full seasons in his entire career.
Exactly. So you're a guy that's beat up. He's older. Now, would you take him over Malik Hooker, Javon Curse? Would you take him over the guys that Dallas already currently has?
Well,
No,
it depends on the pay.
I wouldn't.
Well, that's
I wouldn't take him over either of those guys, no matter the pay.
he's
Curse
younger.
is usually healthier.
He's younger than both of those players I just mentioned.
And that's fine.
Younger, but because of the injury history.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean Jamal Adams. It's weird. You think of him as being like a
Yeah.
34-year-old
He's like
veteran, but he's only
right.
28 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
Malik Hooker has
And
been
that's
in
the thing.
or Malik Hooker is I think a 4-year too.
I mean,
At
if
Texas.
if they signed him for the veteran minimum, okay, I wouldn't like it, but I would be okay with it.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, like I said, if it's like a short-term deal or a one-year deal or somewhere you can easily cut it and not have a lot of dead money.
But that's the whole
tires on
thing
it.
is that I'm
What
not.
does he
I don't
do
have.
for you anymore.
That's
He
the
can't
question.
rush the
That's why I
first-
say
Unless
you
you
gotta
use him
have
as a
you gotta
run-
have a prove it year, like maybe coming
a
to a
run
new
guy.
system, coming to a new Dallas. Honestly, I'd transition him to linebacker because you need linebacker help way
But
more
he's
than you need.
undersized. He's undersized.
You can be
And
undersized
you have
and be
Zim-
great. Ray Lewis was
you
undersized.
You can, but that's not going to work in Mike Zimmer's system. Mike Zimmer wants big run linebackers.
Yes.
That's what he wants. He is
Well, I
not
mean,
a
what he
small
wants and
linebacker
what
guy
he
like Dan
has
Quinn
is
was.
not going to be the get. Most of his guys are small in the linebacking core to begin with.
They
right
are,
now that
but
Dallas
that's-
has because they're
they
Mike
are,
Quinn guys.
Yeah, they're
Or-
Dan Quinn guys.
They're Quinn guys.
Now,
Excuse
if
me, I
it
said
was
Mike
Dan Quinn still
Quinn.
here, he would take Jamal Adams in a heartbeat, put him in there at
Yes.
linebacker.
Yes. Yes.
But with Mike Zimmer now at the reins of the defense, I don't see that as
There's
possible.
no fit there. There's no fit.
That's
there.
possible. But like I said,
Yeah.
I mean, that's where Dallas needs the help is the linebacking core. They suck at
absolutely they need.
linebacker.
They need better
Absolutely
linebackers.
suck.
They do. I mean, it doesn't help that Leighton Vander Esch was used as a battering ram against Micah
Yeah.
Parsons in that San Francisco game. That's
I
where that all
still
went
can't
to
believe
hell.
that wasn't called a foul, to be honest. with
That's
you.
something that was dirty. But
It was.
Vander Esch, I think he's done. He needs to retire because I
Yeah.
don't personally, I don't want anything to happen to him physically. I think he's a good guy.
Yeah,
and
you want him to be
I-
able to live a life after football,
absolutely.
which is what
that's
kind
you
of
want
Sean
for any
Lee
players
eventually
to
had
do.
to decide. Yeah, well, yeah,
That's
what eventually Sean Lee had to decide. Same thing with the neck
Yeah.
issues.
he was
Like,
glass
I
for
have to walk
bones for a
away.
long time. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had to. 'Cause he just could not stay healthy. At the point you have to go, okay, what is it worth? What's it worth?
Yeah.
Is me
Well, it's
playing
like
one
Emmitt
more
Smith
year
when he
worth?
said he finally retired. He's like, so I could lose my knees and not basically be able to use them after football, or I could walk. He's like, I retired.
Well, yeah, he could be. In I take this from a personal experience. As a kid, my late grandfather was a classic car collector. He had a 1948 Chevy Fleetline sedan that I used to go. Our thing was we go to old car shows, and we went to one in Tyler, Texas, that was on Earl Campbell's ranch. That he had classic cars because he was a huge classic car fanatic. He loved classic cars, so he had them on his ranch. And while we were there, we were served lunch by Earl Campbell, cooking Earl Campbell hot links and serving them to people.
No
Nice.
way.
It was amazing. But
That's
Earl
awesome.
Campbell, you could barely move. He was
Yeah.
shuffling around because he could barely move because he shot his knees out for playing longer than what he probably should have. And he even said, I played too long.
Well,
Your
he
knees.
ran into people
Yeah.
when he ran.
Well, he was a sledgehammer.
He was the old
That's
school.
what he
Yeah,
was.
he was
He's
the old school.
ran over everyone. Earl the Pearl,
Mhm.
the Tyler Rose, and he just ran over everyone. But that's the thing is that it's easy to say as a armchair quarterbacks, but when you're out there, you got to, as a player, you got to know what your body can handle, and you got to know when. That's the hard thing is when to call it quits. Like
Oh yeah, that's one of the
Brady
hardest
couldn't
things for
call
an
it
Brady
quits.
athlete to
Favre
stop.
couldn't call it quits. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
you
Van
got.
Der Esch is done. He has
And
to.
you just need to know when,
He does. Yeah, I mean, we
you
agree
only
he
play
needs to
so
walk away,
long.
but
I mean, how many players are my age at 39 still playing besides Udonis Haslam? I mean, there's very
Yeah.
few that still last. You only play for a short amount of time, and you got to remember as you're playing sports that you got to remember what the majority of your life you're not going to be playing. So what is the quality of your life going to be? And with football, you're taking more of abuse than you are in a lot of other sports. So you've got to look out for yourself at that point. Hey, even if you play for a few years, you've made more money than a lot of other people have seen their entire life. I mean,
yeah,
you're not living rough at that point. You can still you got
No.
money for the grandkiddies at that point. So I mean, better than kicking the shin. I can tell you that.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I would not bring Jamal Adams. There's too much injury history. I would have taken him
Yeah.
out when he was at the Jets. I would have taken him then, but at the same
Yeah.
time, that was
I
young in
agree.
his career. Young in his career, at 28, he does seem like he's
Unproven,
35.
But
I
we
mean,
know what type of player he is now.
and I just don't think he'll fit in Zimmer's system. So there's no reason to even entertain the idea.
Sad but true. Sad but true.
Maybe he'll get a veteran minimum somewhere around the league. Somebody might sign him.
me ask
Baltimore
y'all's-
might sign him.
No, they're not going to sign him. Anybody with injury issues, they
Cincy
don't
will
sign.
do it. Cincy will
might.
do it.
Since he might sign him.
Oh,
But,
yeah, they will.
yeah. But hey, let me
Jeff
ask
will
your
get his
opinion
Jamal
about
Adams
another
jersey.
signing actually that happened today.
Absolutely not.
Zach Ertz going to the Commanders on a 1-year deal.
That does nothing for
Any
me.
hot takes?
The
Nothing.
only hot take I'll ever have with Zach Ertz is that the best fantasy football name I ever saw was My Ball Zach Ertz.
Fair
is all.
That was worth bringing up Zach Ertz just for that.
That was
Right.
it. That's the only reason. Oh, he signed with
I
the
don't know
Commanders, and I
why.
went, okay.
I don't know why Washington even bothered signing him. I just.
It's
wow.
kind of a weird signing too, but I guess they're like, hey, we need a tight end because we're gonna get Drake May a rookie. Let's give him somebody to throw to.
Well,
Yes,
Oh, they
He
should take
has-
Jaden Daniels, but that's
he
another
has
story.
he has at least a little bit of history with Cliff Kingsbury. Little.
This
very
is true
little,
too. This is true too.
but enough there that they did play.
Yeah.
That he did play for Kingsbury. There,
That's a good,
Arizona.
that's
Yeah.
a good connection there, Chris. I did not think of that. You're-
Now there's one guy I'm sad to hear got franchise tagged. That's Brian Burns from the Panthers. I was really hoping he would be a free agent and the Ravens might take a swing at him. It'd be a long shot for the Ravens to try to sign him because his contract would be
Dick
huge.
moved by
but
the Panthers,
pretty much. They're kind of
forcing
screwing that
him
player's
to
career
stay
around.
onto that putrid team.
Yeah. hmm
Just
Yep. Now the Cowboys surprisingly didn't use their franchise tag on anyone. No Tyron Smith, no Tony Pollard.
they're letting Tyron
So-
walk. They're letting
Yeah.
Tyron walk, which is rough. I hate that, but it's.
I think-
I mean, You
I-
got to almost at this
it's-
point. The injuries and
I honestly
his,
thought. Well, everyone's surprised about that. Everyone's upset about it, but honestly, I
he had declined his
expected
play,
it 2 years
too.
ago. I expected this
Stop.
2 years ago. 2
You're
years
not
ago, I
wrong.
expected him gone.
You're
So
not wrong.
I'm glad we
And
got
take
what we
the
got
year-
out of him the last 2
and-
years.
and
The
also,
last 2
too-
years, I've just been happy with what I got out of him because I thought he was done 2 years ago.
Who we got?
And
Yeah.
I love the guy. I do. I think
Fair
he's
enough.
been great since we drafted him out of USC. He's been great.
Yeah.
Consummate
But you
professional.
definitely need tackle help now because that other side is not good.
No, with Terrence Steele on the other side, that's going
Yeah.
to be rough.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that also Tyler Biotis is also a free agent, so they've got to work out something with him as well too.
True.
Otherwise,
But
you're
I think
looking
they
for
can get
center
him signed,
and
though.
right tackle.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
at
think
least-
they can get him signed at
At
least.
least having Tyler Smith work with Tyron
Mhm.
this last year, especially, has really helped him the last 2 years, and I think that's going to really. I think he's going to be. He already was. You were going Smith to Smith at left tackle. You already knew he was the heir apparent, and having that chance to be next to him all season this year, I think has really helped him. So I'm not worried about left tackle. Steele, he looked rough this last year. It's gonna. I'm concerned. I'm not overly concerned, but I'm a little concerned about the right side.
Well, I mean, I think
Yeah,
you're
fair
going to be
enough. I mean, it's
drafting your
valid
right
argument.
tackle in the first round, probably.
Well, that's the one
Supposedly.
thing. Hey, as much as I like to hate on what the Cowboys do, they do have a pretty good history of drafting offensive
Drafting
line.
linemen, absolutely.
Yes.
So-
they do.
That is their
You
best
still-
spot in the draft.
You still have Zach
That
Martin
defensive
still
end,
there on the
yes.
right side. You still have him
Yeah.
sitting there. You look, hey, I don't. If they take an offensive lineman, I'm never going to complain. I'm always good taking linemen. I'm always good with that.
Mhm.
It's always good to get your meat and potato guys. So I'd always be all
Fair
right
enough.
with that. But yeah,
Well,
Tony
I will
Pollard.
tell
I'm
you-
not surprised about
I'm
that.
Yeah,
I
not
knew he was
surprised
gonna-
about Tony Pollard at all. I mean, I think they did the right thing. Cowboys did in not using it. I'm going to go to another franchise here because I'm going to bring up my Ravens, who did use the franchise tag on Justin Metabuke, who was the correct choice for the franchise tag. I'm glad they didn't use it on Queen. Yeah, Marmaduke. I'm glad they didn't use it on Patrick Wade or some other player. I wish they got an actual contract with Justin, but
he's still there.
He's still there, which is what we needed.
I think we need to petition. I think we need to petition the Rangers into giving him the nickname Marmaduke. that needs to become your Facebook profile.
You know what? I might do it. I just might do that.
We should.
But I don't think the Bengals use their franchise tag either, Jeff. So how you feeling? You think T. Higgins is going away, or?
No, T. Higgins did get the franchise.
Oh, did he? Okay. See, I did not see that when they franchise tagged him.
The thing
How confident do you think they're going to try to re-sign him, or are they?
I think there's a chance that he may even be traded. I don't.
They just didn't want to get nothing in return, type of thing, is why they tagged him.
I'm really. I mean, it's great that he'll be back, but again, that just because they place a tag on him doesn't mean that they can't trade him.
This is true.
So, I don't think they're going to agree on a long-term extension.
My guess is that he'll play this year, but if he gets traded as soon as this year, then or this off season, then I wouldn't be shocked by that either.
What are you hoping to get from him if he is traded?
Oh, you're looking at least a second, I think. You got to get at least a second.
I was thinking a second round.
T. Higgins would be a number one at how many damn teams? That's the thing.
Probably.
Yeah, but age is going to be a problem at that point, though. Because he's about 28. He's about 28, 27 now, right? Maybe even more than that.
What, T. Higgins?
Yeah, because he's been in the league for.
I thought he was 20.
He was in the league for 3 years before.
No, T. Higgins
Chase,
is
right?
20. No, T. Higgins just turned 25 in the office.
My apologies.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought he was 20.
I was thinking he was older.
Yeah,
but everybody in the old group today.
I think he can command more than a second round pick.
Yeah, but 25 could get you first.
Because if he could come in and literally be the number one on
especially
multiple
the Panthers. You should hit the Panthers and the Bears up. Because they will give you a first round pick for a wide receiver.
Oh yeah, they'll give a first round pick for anything. They don't give a damn. They'll give it for a punter.
They get first round picks out like candy. But the thing
Call
is,
him Oprah.
I don't
just gifts.
You get a first round pick, and you get a first round pick. Yeah. Everyone gets a first round pick.
Everyone look under their seats. That's a first round pick from the Bears.
But yeah, I don't feel good about this situation at all. And again, I would be shocked if he wasn't.
Well, it's another situation of the Bengals. Like this is like back when you had Ocho Cinco and Hoos. You had two great receivers at the time, and which I think Jamar Chase is better than Ocho Cinco was.
Two, but yeah,
and he's a lot better than TJ Houshmandzadeh. Although he doesn't have the hair that TJ had.
I know, right? That awesome hair.
No, but my gut is that
the only person who rivaled hair was Polamalu.
Yeah,
knowing how the Bengals
got the commercial.
Knowing how the Bengals do business, my assumption is that he'll be here another year and that's it. But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if there's a trade either. But we're on our final year of T. Higgins at the very best.
Better hope they trade him, because otherwise, if he's free market, watch him sign with Kansas City.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
If he does, he's giving you the middle finger, Biff.
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we're going to go ahead and take one more quick break as we're going to head into our final segment of the night, the Sports Gumbo. We'll be back here in just a moment.
That's good. That's good. Man, that's good. That's what you call gumbo. Poor man gumbo.
And welcome back here as we get ready for our last segment here this evening, the Sports Gumbo, where we'll talk about whatever thing we haven't been able to hit in the earlier sessions. And I'll go ahead and start it off here tonight. Everyone knows I'm on the English Premier League. Been pretty obvious with that. And
You're a little
that
excited in your soccer.
well, I've been excited about that. My son's excited about every kind of soccer. We've signed him up for soccer classes now, so he's going to get soccer this year. We'll
Little
see
kids
how
love to
long it
run.
sticks.
Like my nephew said, "Come run." And I was like, "That is never something you will hear an adult say."
No, absolutely not. No. Unless your
The
name is
kids just
Usain
love to
Bolt.
run. True.
They do, and I'll let him run the whole time, wear him out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Exactly.
my Gunners winning 6-0 over the Sheffield, who are last place in Premier League. They're getting relegated.
Oh.
They're going down. It's bad. And
Mhm.
basically Arsenal basically gave him a swift kick in the ass on the way out the door.
Yeah, they said, "Take it easy. See you later."
So with that 6-0 win on Monday, that puts them at 61 points, only 2 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool 63, Man City 62.
That's
Arsenal
crazy close to those
61.
top three teams.
And what I was hearing as of last week when they were only 3 points away, it's been since like 1993 that you've had 3 teams this close. Now, if I'm wrong, please call me out. I may be wrong. I may have misheard that.
Yeah.
But since it's been a long time since you've had this many teams this close in the English Premier League. I mean,
there's
I'm new to
usually
it, so.
one team that's way ahead, and then it
That's
doesn't
what I'm
even
used to,
matter
yeah.
the final.
Or one that kind of,
week.
or maybe
Yeah.
one or two that kind of fight
Yeah.
each other, and then nothing.
And
But
Manchester
not-
City,
not
they've
like
won the
this.
last 2 years, so they're the incumbent. I mean, Liverpool is just hanging there. You just can't be done with them. And Arsenal, since that loss to Liverpool, has just been playing lights out. Yeah, they had the little fall off to Portugal in the Champions League, but they've just been playing lights out. They're blowing everyone out that they're playing against.
I mean, they got
absurd.
a plus 45 goal differential. That's well and above anybody else in the league. Yeah.
Unheard of. What they're doing. I mean, the last games they've had has been in Premier League. They've only given up 1 goal to Newcastle in like the last 5 games, and they've scored above 5 goals every single game. It's just absurd what they're doing.
The game
I'd like
that
to
I'm looking forward to.
I'd like to, I don't want to take too much credit for becoming an Arsenal fan and them,
At the right time.
really taking credit, because
You
for them
joined him
to
at the
have
right
this
time.
offensive prowess is that I can't take, can't take the credit that because I just became a fan, started rooting for them, and then they started doing this offensively. I can't help that. I'm not affecting that in any way. I just became a fan at the right time. Don't sit here and say that because of my fandom, they've actually gone, hey,
nobody is
Porter's
saying
our
that.
fan now. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I'm saying it.
Don't take it from you.
Saka's
Jeff's saying
getting
it. My bad. Jeff's saying it.
Since I started following, Saka has turned around. Like, he has put in more goals these last 6 games than he has the entire first part of the season before these past 6 games. Like, he's put in more goals. It's absurd what's going on right now offensively.
Right.
The way that they're playing, they're a scary team right now. And they're proving it. They're dominating teams that they need to dominate.
Yeah.
And it's not just the lower dregs. I mean, they went 6-0 against West Ham. And West Ham right now is sitting 6th in the Premier League.
Right.
So it's not like they're, it's not like they're in threat of being relegation. And as we talk about Liverpool, who's still leading, They won 1-0 against Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest is 2 spots away from relegation. They're not a great team by any means, but it took, and I watched this game because, as I've said, my son's into it. We have Peacock, so we're watching. Hey, if it makes him happy to watch soccer on Saturday, hey, that's
right.
fine. Let's do
watch
it.
a sport with your son.
Exactly. Hey, I love watching sports with my son. He loves watching. Hey, when you get your buddy to watch with, you got to race him. But we're watching this game, and it was 9 minutes added to the end of the game.
Jeez.
When this goal was scored, was 99 minutes into the game, 100 minutes into the game, when this last goal was scored for Liverpool. And it was already past the extra time after Liverpool had kicked in the corner kick. It was taken back by Nottingham Forest, who almost cleared it out when Liverpool got it back, and it was at already a minute and a half after the extra time that was already added. So, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm new to the whole English Premier League rules and everything, but when not usually, as I've seen, whenever the other team takes the ball back after the time it's expired, it's over.
It usually, but it is up to the ref's discretion.
That thing was such horseshit. It was completely rigged for Liverpool to win that fucking game at all costs. That was awful. That's disgusting.
When they called,
absolutely disgusting.
When they blew the whistle for the corner kick, and it was 99 minute or 98 minutes and 53 seconds. I go, you have 7 seconds left till the
you're gonna
extra
get a
time's
corner
over.
kick, and
This
then
is
once
over.
it's out,
corner
you're
kick
done.
and to go in, then
that's
you're
what
done.
expecting at least.
So that's what I was expecting. They kicked the corner kick. It got
Missed
moved
it.
away. They missed it.
That's the game.
Nottingham Forest got the ball back, and to me, it should have been called. It wasn't. They kept it going. It went to 90. It went to 100.
11 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, that's some
to
BS.
me. I was like, "What's going on here?"
I would be livid. I would honestly file a protest if I was Nottingham.
I would.
I'm surprised they didn't, because it was in Nottingham. That was the thing. It wasn't in Liverpool. It was in Nottingham.
Yeah,
that was a surprising thing.
That is such horseshit.
Because as it came up to that point, I go, "This is huge," because Arsenal plays on Monday. They've got a chance to really make some ground here if Nottingham can, just keep it nil.
Yeah,
keep it nil. That's it.
When an EPL game makes headlines for shit like that in America, you screwed up.
Yeah. It looked fishy. It looked fishy.
It was such bullshit.
Yeah. And going back and rewatching it was like, oh yeah, that's they should have had that opportunity there.
No,
that's WTF with Jeff stuff right there.
It truly is. But yeah, that's what I had here for the Gumbo is, hey, don't count on Arsenal. The Gunners are coming for it.
Go Arsenal.
Watch them. That's right. We all wear the jersey. We'll all have to wear our Arsenal jerseys.
There you go. Yeah, we'll have to get our Arsenal jerseys. We'll all be fans.
You guys don't. Yeah, you guys are uncommitted at this point. As far as
the English Premier League, yes.
Yes, as far as EPL, you're uncommitted. I'll have to sway you over to my side. That way, I have someone else to root with.
Right.
My best.
You go for Wolverhampton. That's fine. You go for Wolverhampton. You go ahead. They got their asses waxed
friend
too.
from high school. He was an Arsenal fan, so. I am familiar with Arsenal.
Already planning when we go to our trip, when we finally take our trip over across the Great Lake and get over there. I have already promised to take the boys over to Emirates Stadium so we can go watch a game.
There you go. Get your scarf on and everything.
I have a proclamation to make.
Okay.
Dallas Stars are going.
Proclamation.
So we're changing sports here. Dallas Stars are going to what?
We're changing sports now.
Dallas Stars are going to win the Stanley Cup. They were down 6-3 last night. Now, granted, This is against the worst team in the NHL.
That's
the
a
San
bold
Jose
statement,
Sharks.
sir.
They're god awful. But
If they
Have
would have
you-
done what they
have
did
y'all
last
seen-
night against the Boston Bruins, then I would say absolutely, I'm on board with you. Do I want to see that happen? Absolutely.
Or even against Vegas.
Yeah. Well, they're better than Vegas right now. I'd say if it was against Vancouver or Boston, then
or
okay,
Winnipeg.
you could say that. They'll beat Winnipeg. I'm not worried about Winnipeg. Vancouver, I'm worried about.
But what I love about this team though is that I love the combination of veterans and then young players like Logan Stankoven. Since they called him up, he's been incredible. And then Wyatt Johnson, who's been on the team for a while, who is younger than Logan Stankoven, who they just called up, got a hat trick last night.
Yeah.
This is just
Wyatt Johnson was a
stuff.
rookie last year, so this is his
That's what I'm
second year with the
saying.
team.
And
Yes.
he is younger than Logan Stankoven. This team is so much fun to watch.
I love this team. I think a lot of people knocked them out early on, and all they've done is stay at the top of their
Yes.
division.
Number 2
Just
in the West
sit there.
right now.
They're number 2 in the West. They were number 3 as of 2 weeks ago when we broadcast. They've done nothing but move up, and they win in different ways. They don't have to dominate. They win in lots of different ways. As of last night, where they were down going into the third period 6-3 and came back and won 7-6 in overtime.
Yes.
And who scored that overtime goal? Rupe Hintz. You got to give that man is good. He's good.
Yes.
He's the fastest. When he's on the ice, he's the fastest guy on the ice. Yes, I want to sit here and join you on your platform of going, yes, they're going to win the Stanley Cup. They did it against the worst team in the league. They came back and beat the worst team in the league. They were down 6-3 in the third period to the worst team in the league.
I understand that, but it's not just.
I mean, the Florida
game.
Panthers are killing it
It's
out there in
not-
the East too.
It's not
So
just
it's not
the
just
game
the West
last
you gotta
night.
go through.
They kicked Winnipeg's ass the other day on Thursday. They had Ottinger's going to get healthy.
They're doing pretty good.
That's the thing. That they've been doing all this without Ottinger. Ottinger has been hurt. So, yes, will I say they have the potential to win it? Do they have the team that could? Yes, they do. They have the talent to do it. But I'm not going to stand here with you right now after coming back in overtime 7-6 over the worst team in the league and saying we're going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm not going to stand with you on that. Do I agree? No, I love the team too. Does the team have the potential? Yes, they do. Do they have the talent? Yes, they do. Do I think they're underrated? Absolutely, they're underrated, especially here on the East Coast where they don't care about West Coast hockey, which was a surprise to everyone over here was like, how did Vegas win? I was like, because Vegas was a fucking good team last year. That's why.
Right.
They were extremely good. Why do you think they waxed Florida, who waxed all of your asses over here?
Yeah, very true. And now it's waxing them again this year.
Exactly. And that's the thing is they don't respect Western hockey out over here. And that's the thing is that's why I've completely brainwashed my son into being a Stars fan.
Right.
I'm going to do the same thing to Declan as well, just to brainwash him completely so that they actually even if it's just that they actually respect Western hockey. So it's not just whoever's in the East, if that's what it is, because that's all they get from their family is a bunch of Devil and New Jersey Devil and New York Ranger fans. That's all I'm dealing with now. So it's it is what it is. It is what it is.
Right.
I do plan at least since we're in the area trying to get out to the Garden to see a game. I mean, come on, it's the Garden.
Right.
But yeah, it's just let them know. Hey, there's hockey west of the Mississippi.
Yeah, there's hockey.
As well,
too. Right.
There's good teams out there, and I do believe the Stars have a great chance this year. I really do. I'm feeling good about the team. But Vancouver they scare me. I'm worried about Vancouver. Vancouver's reminding me of from what I've seen from the highlights of Vancouver, I'm seeing a lot of what I was seeing from Vegas last year. A lot. And that worries me.
Yeah, and Edmonton is good too because he had the
Could
best player in the
Edmonton
NHL.
is good. Edmonton is
With
good,
Connor
but Edmonton to
McDavid.
me is the same team they were last year.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
Bobby.
scared of Edmonton. I'm not scared. Edmonton's a good team. They can outscore you in a heartbeat, but I'm not scared of Edmonton. I think if you get in there and rough them up like they were last year, you can knock them out. I think you can outmuscle Edmonton. Vancouver, I don't think you can. It was like Vegas last year. You couldn't outmuscle Vancouver, or you couldn't outmuscle Vegas last year.
Right.
Vegas was going to come out there. They were going to score. They were going to punch you in the mouth, and they were going to dominate you the whole time. That's what they did all the way to the Stanley Cup, and it worked for them. Vancouver, I see doing that this year. They took that template and they put it on their team, and their team bought into it. You've got to outmuscle Vancouver. Edmonton, you can outmuscle and they'll fold. I think you can take them out of their game. I really do. That's why they're not leading. If they were scary, they would be lead. If they were playing to their potential, they would be the huge lead in the West. You wouldn't be able to catch up to them. But they don't play up to their potential. Edmonton, it does not scare me. Vancouver scares me because you have to outmuscle them. You have to go out and punch them in the mouth. But you have to then, after you punch them in the mouth, continue to punch them in the mouth throughout the first and second period, and then hit them a couple more times in the third. They're not going to go away if you punch.
Make sure they're dead.
I'm so
exactly
worried about,
just like Vegas did last year.
So worried about Winnipeg, and you want to know who the head coach of that team is?
I know who the head coach of that team is.
Tell me who the head coach of that.
They all know who. Everyone knows who the head coach of the team is.
Rick Bowness.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not scared of Winnipeg. I'm not afraid of them.
Call him Loserpeg then.
I'm just not afraid of them. There's only one team. I told you, I'm only afraid of one team.
Vancouver.
That's it. Because they remind me of Vegas last year, but because of what Dallas matched up with Vegas, that maybe they can learn from that loss to them and now move it to this year. I hope they can. If they can, then they have a good chance, and I think they have a chance to move forward. Then you have to worry about the East, of course, what happens there. But you got to get to that point. You got to meet Winnipeg, or not Winnipeg. You have to meet Vancouver in the Western Conference Finals. At that point, learn from what you learned from Vegas last year. But I'm not afraid of any other team. I think they stack up well against any other team just fine in the West. That's why they are where they're at in the way that they play. And I haven't watched a whole lot of hockey this year, but I've seen enough and keep up with the stats of, hey, this team can stack up with anybody out there. But that's the team. Vancouver is too much like Vegas. I'm repeating myself. Let's move on. I'm not going to sit here and repeat myself over and over again.
Fair enough. Well, I got a shout out actually to the Texas Tech baseball team. Scored a nice 32 runs against Texas Southern in a win a couple of weeks ago, since we didn't broadcast last week. So give them a shout out this week. First team to score 30 this year, set a record for Texas Tech runs by a run. They scored 31, I think it was 3 years ago. But yeah, congrats to Texas Tech. Just putting a whooping on Texas Southern, but 32 runs.
Run roll at some point.
Yep.
Come on.
Right.
All right. Well, guys, another enjoyable evening. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It makes my week to talk sports with you two. And want to thank everyone for joining us here. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms, and definitely keep up to date, because we will soon be setting out the link to join the March Madness tournament here for Next Round Sports. You want to be a part of that because you beat us and you have your chance of winning a $50 gift card. So please keep a lookout for that. We've got lots of looking forward to that and the NFL draft. I mean, there's so many things we've got to look forward to coming up in future episodes, and just really excited about all that. But definitely follow us, like us on all of our social media platforms so that you stay up to date with Next Round Sports. Once again, we'll see you all on the next round. Cheers, everyone. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you all in the next round. Have a good night.